We have our usual packed agenda, but before I go through it, I want to acknowledge that this is Commissioner Flanagan's last meeting as she moves on to her next adventure. I have a few words that I'd like to share in appreciation of Commissioner Flanagan, but before I do, I know that there are others that wish to speak to Jen's contributions, Commissioner Flanagan's contributions. I can't call her Jen yet for another few days. Commissioner Flanagan's contributions. I'm very pleased that we have three special guest speakers that joined us today, our former Commissioners Doyle, McBride, and Title. So what I thought I'd do is ask them to make some comments, ask the current commissioners to make some comments, ask our executive director to make some comments. I'll make some comments, and then we'll let Commissioner Flanagan have the last word, as always. So if we could start with Commissioner Doyle, welcome back, or former Commissioner Doyle, welcome back. It's nice to see you. I miss you.
Thank you, and likewise. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak today about my fellow commissioner and friend, Jen Flanagan. From the first day in Ashburton, over 3 years ago now, Jen, was such a great source of comfort and just radiated the "we'll get this done" attitude in the face of the daunting deadlines that we had and the crushing workload. And hurdles just didn't exist for her. She would simply sail over them or walk right through them. If we had a question for another state, she picked up the phone and kept calling until we tracked down the right person to talk to. She actually tackled some of the more challenging portions of the regulations when we were first drafting them, things like advertising and edibles and things like that. And she really brought that sort of common sense public health perspective to what we were doing. And, God help the lobbyists who tried to talk over her, condescend to her, or fail to address her questions, because Jen does not tolerate fools. So that was really encouraging and empowering to be a part of. She is someone of steely integrity. And, she fought, as we all saw, she fought for the little guy from day one. Championing policies that would help disproportionately impacted communities and individuals who were trying to break into the industry without having the benefit of venture capital money and the backing of what little power there is in this area. And she was also committed to the development of evidence-based policy and stayed true to what she believed in when we were taking difficult votes, even when that was the harder path. But most importantly for me, throughout the time we worked together, Jen was incredibly kind. When things were not going well or, we're having doubts about something, she's always a good person to talk to and honestly go to when things were not going well outside of the commission. Jen got me through the fact that I lost power for about 3 days while we were in the middle of drafting the regulations in 2017. And she did whatever she could to make sure that I could keep going. And it's the little things like that that make knowing Jen and working with Jen so wonderful. And so I'm so glad that, I had the opportunity to work with her and get to know her, and that she has, executed her duty as a commissioner with such success and is now going on to pursue her own ambitions. And I'm just very grateful for the opportunity to have had her in my life.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Doyle, or former Commissioner Doyle. Again, it's great to see you. The next guest speaker will be former Commissioner McBride, who I think is only available on the phone. Commissioner McBride, are you there?
I am.
Thank you for joining us today, and miss you. Go ahead, please.
I'm so bummed that I can't be there kind of in person and be able to say this directly to Jen, but I'll do my best. So when I think of Commissioner Flanagan, I can't help but be reminded of the late legendary governor of Texas, Ann Richards. For those of you who don't remember her or don't recollect, Google 1988 Democratic National Convention keynote speech. Governor Richards was formidable, and notwithstanding her hair, there are many similarities with Jen. Like Governor Richards, Jen suffers no fools, as Kay said. She pulls no punches and has the courage of her convictions. She's direct, no keyboard warrior this one, she'll say it to your face, but refreshingly, she'll also engage with those who don't agree with her. And like Governor Richards, she's quick with a memorable one-liner. Upon Governor Richards' departure from office, when asked what she would have done differently, she responded, "Oh, I would probably have raised more hell." While I'm not sure that that would have been possible in Commissioner Flanagan's case, I can attest that the hell that she raised has made a big difference. Most certainly in her role as Commissioner of the Cannabis Control Commission, but more broadly over 25 years of service to the Commonwealth. And the Commonwealth and this commission are better for it. Commissioner Flanagan has kept both this commission and those that come before it honest, transparent, and accountable. With almost surgical precision, Commissioner Flanagan has dissected every positive impact plan and diversity plan that has been part of an application before this commission to date. She, in strong partnership with Julie and Sam, shepherded much of our research agenda and brought her signature energy and high standards to the process of producing reports that are considered national models. But more importantly, provide transparent details about the intricacies of the work of this commission to policymakers and the public alike. Consistent with that work, she's been an outspoken and passionate advocate for as long as I can remember for an accurate and data-driven assessment of DIAs to ensure that the commission is doing the job that it has been tasked with. Her work, along with that of Cedric and our comms team, brought to life in the More About Marijuana campaign, can fairly be said to be both the introduction and the public face of legal cannabis to many people in the Commonwealth. And how do you begin to measure the impact of Commissioner Flanagan's work on the public health aspects of our regulations? In short, there is a direct connection between her diligence and passion and the strength of the cannabis industry in Massachusetts today. I'm lucky because our tenure on the CCC is not the first time that our paths have crossed professionally. However, this most recent journey truly reminded me, time and time again, how you really want Jen Flanagan on your side. The people of North Central Massachusetts who elected you election after election are no fools. The Commonwealth and this commission are fortunate because we've had Jen Flanagan on our side. So, Commissioner Flanagan, thank you for your friendship, your counsel, your energy, and your work over the course of the last 4 years. I know you are not done raising hell, and I look forward to what comes next.
Thank you, former Commissioner McBride. Great to hear from you. Next and final special guest is former Commissioner Shalene Title. Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, thank you for joining us. I miss you. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I miss you too. It's really great to be invited back here. It's killing me to not be able to be on video, but I'm so glad that I'm able to say goodbye and give my best wishes to you, Commissioner Flanagan, soon to be part of our club where we call each other by our first names. I'm so glad that I got to work with you. It was really a pleasure to get to know you. One thing I always loved that we had in common, I think, is that you and I both never overthought things. I found that really refreshing to work with you. I also love the way that you didn't take every little thing too seriously. You focused on what you thought was important. And when you did take something really seriously, it was a joy to watch. The public awareness campaign definitely comes to mind. You headed that up and I think overcame every obstacle, especially in the beginning. And that's something that I think everybody at the commission is really proud of. It's a beautiful, effective campaign. You did excellent work on it. And also really like the way that you always stood up for whatever you believed in. And I think our commission being in Worcester, you know, and making this like grand gesture that we believe we are part of the whole state and accountable to the whole state forever was very much at your leadership. Another thing I remember from very recently was in the delivery decisions when we were deciding about, you know, how many facilities one licensee could have. I remember that you said, you know, I don't even support delivery at all, but let me chime in here and, you know, share what I think about what's reasonable for licensees. And I thought that reflected really well on you because it shows that you're really rooted in reality, and it's not about just what you think, but also making sure that we're all trying to get to the right conclusion. And that made you such an asset on our team. It was wonderful to work with you in the beginning too, on the initial regulations, the edibles, the advertising, all of that stuff that you led that I think are considered great practices generally. And of course, working together on disproportionate impact plans, going from just a complete, new idea from scratch to you adding all of the important details and conditions and making sure that they were really robust plans that these licensees are committed to. And now all of us being able to hand this off to the future commissioners to make sure that those things go from paper to reality. I think it's a lovely thing to watch unfold and see the actual positive impact that they'll have. So it's wonderful to get to know you, to work with you. Major asset to Vicente Cedarburg. I know that from the beginning, they've always been about being sensible, and thinking ahead in the future, 5, 10, 20 years down the line. And it's really cool to watch the way that, the meaning of sensible and the meaning of everything that they stand for and that you stand for is evolving. I think that's wonderful. I think with all the work that we did, talking about how important diversity is and different people working together and challenging each other, you certainly showed that in the commission, and you'll be showing that in the future. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you, former Commissioner Title. I'd like to ask the current commissioners, or the three newer members, if they would like to say anything. I understand that you've all had only, unfortunately, a relatively short period of time to get to know and work with Commissioner Flanagan, but Commissioners Concepcion, Camargo, Stebbins, would any of you like to say anything? Commissioner Camargo, I see you raising your hand. Please go ahead.
Sure. Even though we've only been here about 3 months and it feels like 3 years, Commissioner Flanagan, I feel like I've known you 3 years. I just want to say thank you for onboarding us, and me in particular. You already know I have a lot of questions, so I really appreciate you. But what I really love about you is that you are straightforward, no BS, and let's just get to work. So I appreciate that. I will miss you, but I also have your phone number, and when you leave, I'm sure we can chit chat. But thank you, and again, thank you for all your contribution for helping found this commission, but also your attention to detail when it comes to the diversity plans and the positive impact plans. I think that they're a sweet spot, I think, for all of us, and you've really brought it to the forefront. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to at least today's meeting with you.
Thank you, Commissioner Concepcion.
Yeah, I will be short and sweet. This is bittersweet. Although I've been on the commission for only a short period of time, still, our paths have been pretty close for a number of years. Commissioner Flanagan, we've talked about this. You served in the House of Reps alongside my grandmother. And when I worked in the Senate as counsel, you were a senator there. And you have always had a reputation for directness, for honesty, and really being committed to the work and giving back to the people of the Commonwealth. So I was really excited when I got appointed, and I knew that I would have the opportunity to work directly with you. And it has been amazing, to say the least. It's been really short, but you've always been there to really give thoughtful advice, to help me, guide through the onboarding process and just being a listening ear. You're going to be really missed, and it's bittersweet because I know you'll go on to do great things, I'm sure, but I'm glad I've had this opportunity to work with you.
Thank you. Commissioner Stebbins, I don't see you on camera. There you go. Would you like to say something?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To my colleague, I'm sorry we have not had a chance to work together longer, but in my old occupation, I have to say the first time I met Commissioner Flanagan was at a weekend conference on gaming. And first of all, for any elected official to give up time on the weekend after a busy week. I was really impressed that she attended the conference with what has always been her focus, I expect, on the public health of the citizens of Massachusetts, and certainly how they were going to react and be protected with the introduction of gaming into Massachusetts. So that was my first introduction to her, and again, I was impressed with her attendance at that conference. But in the short time we've had a chance to work together, always impressed with your notion of team, and how supportive you are of everybody on the commission, regardless of where they fall into the organization chart. You care about everybody. I really don't know where this, interest or your behavior of, always feeling free to express your opinion. I haven't seen any of that in the calls that we've had. But great to work with you. I talked about being, when I talked the other day about being able to reach out and use you as a resource, and I have a feeling you'll be calling us also to share with us your opinion. But great to work with you, and certainly looking forward to catching a Woo Sox game at some point with your mom, who I know is a big Sox fan. You can just kind of sit there and not pay attention, but looking forward to that. And sorry we didn't have a chance to work together longer, but wishing you all the best in your next career move.
Thank you, Commissioner. Executive Director Collins, I understand you'd like to say something as well?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Commissioner Flanagan, I have a pretty unique opportunity here to offer some thoughts and sentiments on behalf of the agency's staff. I'll start just simply by offering my thanks and obviously wishing you the best in your next adventure. That is ultimately, I think, what our shared time here has amounted to, one of the most incredible adventures that probably all of us have ever really embarked on. So on behalf of staff, I want to particularly thank you, though, for your support and your understanding. We've always found you to be fair and firm in your convictions, while always supportive in your interactions. As you know, our team here works incredibly hard every day, and you are always quick to recognize and acknowledge that. Personally, I do want to thank you for your 25 years of service to the Commonwealth. For many people and for many reasons, time spent in public service is often brief. I continue to believe that public service can and is a noble calling. So thank you for proving that. Thank you for offering your skills and expertise for as long as you have. And thank you for continuing to make a fellow legislative staffer alum really proud. I can't say I'll miss an early morning text message that starts with a punctuated good morning. I'd always usually respond with an uh-oh. That usually meant, of course, that I had some explaining to do or an answer to go and find, but I'm sure we'll stay in touch. I look forward to seeing what you get into next. We'll keep the lights on here. We'll keep working to make you and your fellow network of commissioners and former commissioners ultimately proud of your agency. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Got a few words and then I'll turn it over to Commissioner Flanagan. I learned a lot from Commissioner Flanagan, including the value of brevity. So I'll keep this short. Plus, I'm not sure there's much I can add to the incredible eloquence that preceded me. It's been an honor and a pleasure serving with Commissioner Flanagan for the last 3.5 years. It's hard to think of two people more stylistically different than Commissioner Flanagan and myself, but as I said, I learned a lot from her, and I think I did because we are so different. I admire her for her honesty. I think everybody that's spoken thus far has used that as an adjective to describe her. You never had to guess what she believed, nor did you ever have to entertain any doubts that those beliefs came from her heart, from her true north. Commissioner Flanagan was steadfast in ensuring that this new industry worked for all of the citizens of the Commonwealth, those that had voted for question 4 as well as those that had voted against question 4. Those who lived close to Boston, as well as those who lived in Central Mass, the Berkshires, the North and South Shores, the Cape, the Islands. Most importantly, her passion to ensure that our regulations enhance public health permeated everything that we have done. The Commonwealth, its citizens, the Commission, and I personally owe a debt of gratitude to Commissioner Flanagan. We will miss her, but the impact that she had will be permanent to the benefit of all of us. So thank you, Commissioner. I'll miss you, and I wish you the best of luck. And I too intend to continue to reach out to you for advice and counsel. Thank you. Commissioner Flanagan, anything you'd like to say at this point?
Yeah, this is really uncomfortable. Well, first and foremost, I really would like to thank former Commissioners Doyle, McBride, and Title for being here today. You guys have amazingly busy lives, and I totally understand that. Probably a snow day for some of the kids, so I can imagine what your households are like this morning. But to say we were on an adventure from day one is really the least we can say. I think that everything that could have been thrown at us was, including the federal government never taking actions that we need them to. And so just having those memories and remembering day one at Ashburton is something that I'll never forget, or us coordinating times to be at the Ashburton Cafe so we're not there together, and just being very mindful of the open meeting law and what we were about to do. So I thank you for that. Commissioners Concepcion, Camargo, and Stebbins, I wish you all the best, and I wish this would have been longer, that we've been able to work together. I'm hoping that the former commissioners and I have left you a foundation by which you will build on, and I sincerely mean that. I take no offense to the changes that could be made coming forward. I ask you to keep one thing in mind, and that's about the people. This is about the people of the Commonwealth. Question 4 is gone. This is now a law. There's a statute that you have to adhere to, and really take that to heart when you're making your decisions. And don't forget the people out in the Berkshires. I've always said that this isn't about a Boston bubble. This isn't about just the city of Boston, but about the entire Commonwealth. And I think we've tried to keep that in mind, especially with the actions we took with residency requirements and micro businesses, and really trying to get the people of Massachusetts to be able to be included into this industry. The executive director, I will not stop texting you early in the morning with a good morning, followed by 4 different periods, just so that you know that I have something else to say. I really want to thank you for your commitment to this agency. You have legitimately worked day in and day out for the last 3 years, and God was I glad to get you there when we finally hired you, because we had someone else we could bounce things off of. But you've taken the brunt of a lot of things, and I really do appreciate all the work that you've done. Not to mention the times that I've kind of stepped out of line and went and got some funding for a certain campaign, or really started to take on some legislative issues that probably I shouldn't have. But sometimes those things happen. It's an occupational hazard, having literally grown up at the State House. So feel free to ask the House members for the $1 million amendment for the budget coming up if anybody wants to do that. We still have a campaign to run. But really, thank you so much for your friendship and your leadership, not only when we work together in the State House, but here. Certainly, you can appreciate my affinity for Central Mass and how important it is to the Commonwealth. And I think having our headquarters out there really shows our commitment, as Commissioner Title said, to the people of the Commonwealth, and that we really are representing the entire state. To the staff, brevity is best, and I can't call out all the staff members. So I want to be thankful to the licensing team for every time I got you in trouble when Sean walked around the corner and we were talking. Kyle and your team have listened to me literally since Federal Street, when I used to harass you and bombard you because you were outside my office. And to the research team, Samantha and Olivia and Julie, there will forever be questions that I have. Do you have access to this article? There's just so much research and so much that I want to learn, that you are that gateway. And so that's the doorway I need to go through. I'm grateful for your friendship. I'm very grateful for the work that you do. And I'm really grateful for the fact that, you're very data driven. It doesn't matter where the data leads us, as long as the data is there. And Dr. Johnson, you and I have had conversations about even, your thesis and your work, your dissertation down at Johns Hopkins, and, how come the data didn't go the way you wanted it to, and then we pivot and you make policy that way. So I really think that it's important to ensure that our research team is there, and the work that you do is amazing. I can probably guarantee there's not another commissioner that's going to color code and tag up a report like I do, so you might be off the hook for a little while. But I want to thank you all for your friendship, and really to the people of Massachusetts. I can't thank people enough. It's been certainly my career started off as a one-day shadowing of a state rep, and 25 years later, here I am. So I was the kid that was supposed to stay for the day but never left, and I appreciate each and every opportunity that I've had along the way. The citizens of the Commonwealth have been the people that I cared about most, whether it was North Central Mass, and it'll always be North Central Mass, or statewide when I took on the opiate crisis and wanting to hear from people where they were at. I visited enough detox centers, rehab centers, prisons, jails, to really get to the people. And I think hopefully I did the same with this. Certainly, I think it's interesting that the most consistent thing our commission has done is work from home. Over the last 3 years, I think we've done that the longest. But with the changes in venue from Ashburton to Federal Street to Worcester and now home, hopefully we've been able to engage the public, and that we've really built an agency. I might remind you, the first on the East Coast, that other states are going to look to as they legalize. So I'm thankful for the opportunity. I am grateful for all your friendships. I am hopeful for the future, and really want to continue to talk about public health and to push those initiatives. So thank you so much to all of you, and I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Flanagan.